Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. As you can see, I am back home and I've been back from Ghana for a little over a week, and I'm so thankful for the many subscribers that I have gained since I have posted my Ghana vlogs. I knew they was going to do well, but I didn't know they was going to do as well as they have done. And since that's the case, I decided to put a little bit more content about Ghana related videos for you all. I'm not going to forget my fashion or my makeup stuff, so I will be posting those as well for my subscribers who were subscribing to me before I started posting the Ghana vlogs. So I'm just going to be kind of meshing all that together as best that I could, so that I can make sure that I'm giving all of my subscribers what you're coming to my channel to get. So I'm hoping that you're going to be enjoying the content that I'm going to be bringing to you all in the future. Still trying to work out kind of what direction I'm trying to go, but it will work itself out, and I will continue to be putting out great content for you all. So like the title says, this video is how I learned to connect to the African continent. Seeing my Ghana vlogs, I know you all might think that I've always been comfortable, I've always been content, I've always been at peace, I've always been able to kind of assimilate to the culture, and have always enjoyed myself in the Ghanaian environment. And the truth of that is that that was not always the case. I actually had to learn to get to where I'm at now, where going to Ghana is a home to me, a peace to me, a comfortable place for me now. But it was not always like that. So in this video, I'm just going to share with you all how I learned to connect with the African continent, and really what has that taught me going forward. And if you're like me and you are kind of intrigued about the African continent, maybe you want to move there, maybe you want to visit there, hopefully this will also bring comfort to you and some kind of knowledge to you as well, to make the whole process of it a little bit more understandable and a little bit more approachable, so that you can feel more comfortable with it as well. So stay tuned. Education taught me to fear Africa. Education taught me to dislike it, to hate it, to not want to go there. Growing up, society taught me, schools taught me that the African continent is full of disease and famine and poverty and no modern infrastructure. Any type of negative thought, stereotypes, ideas, images that society and growing up in the American culture wanted to tell us about the African continent, that's what it was portrayed growing up in schools. I cannot really remember learning a lot about the African continent. I barely remember learning anything about slavery, anything about Black history. I do have a vivid memory of watching Roots in the 5th grade, and I don't really know why we were watching that in the 5th grade, but we were. So I don't really even know the context of that. I just remember walking away wanting to watch the rest of it because we didn't watch all of it. So growing up, Africa was never a desire for me to visit, to travel, to learn anything about. It was just a faraway continent that I was told my ancestors came from, and that was it. That was all that I knew about it. That's all I wanted to know about it at one point in my life. And so it was just like a faraway like thing, like, okay, I'm never going to go there, so I don't really need to worry about it. God works in mysterious ways, doesn't he? So I met my husband in 1999, and of course, as you know, he is from Ghana. And even dating him, I still did not connect Africa to him for some reason. Like, I just saw him as a Black man. That's what I saw. Who happened to be from an African continent. Like, I really still did not tie the two together. And so even hearing him speak his language, even hear him talking about his country or talking about his food, talking about his culture, I still did not make the connection, and I still did not have the desire to learn more about it, even when I first started dating him. I remember when I first met his family and I first tasted rice and stew, and I just thought to myself, what a very odd dish this is. I knew it was very hot and very spicy. It was not something I wanted to try again because of the spiciness. But even then, I wasn't really intrigued. I was not really like, oh, I want to know more. And that's basically what society kind of makes you want to, kind of forces you to think when it comes to the African continent a lot of times. And to not have that desire to learn more, because when you learn more, you know more. And when you know more, of course, you're going to want to go and explore. You want to go and learn more about the culture and be a part of the culture. And let's face it, society does not want you to have that connection, does not want Black Americans, I should say, to have that connection with the African culture. So if you continue to feed them the negative images and the negative perceptions, then of course the desire to go there eventually goes away. 2003, my father-in-law passed away. He passed away from complications of a stroke, and he passed away in the States, and they flew his body to Nkonya to have the burial services. I had our daughter at that time, so my daughter was a baby. She was 2 years old, going on 3, and so my husband, of course, was like, y'all are going to Ghana. We are going to celebrate the life of my father and his funeral. And so he was like, you're going. And I want you all to see where I come from. I wasn't excited to go. I didn't want to go. I wanted to go to support him and to be there during his grief. But I did not want to go. I remember getting ready for the trip and dreading it. I remember my family was like, are you really going, and are you really taking this baby over there? Because again, the stereotypical mindset of what we thought Africa was. And so when I stepped off the plane in 2003, I was in complete shock. Because I was like, this is not what I've been taught. There are roads here, there are buildings here, there's a civilization here. Because the education that I grew up in America always taught us that Africa was uncivilized. The African countries were uncivilized. And I'm just looking, this looks civilized to me. And so that whole thing was very shocking for me when I got off the plane, because it was going against what I had been taught and what I thought to be true. Even riding from the airport and going to my sister-in-law's house, because that's where we stayed, it still did not click that I was in a country in Africa. I really didn't say, oh my gosh, this is the place where my ancestors might have set foot. There's so much history here. There's so much culture here. Like, none of that was going through my head. The only thing was going through my head was, this is nothing like what I've been taught. That's what was going through my head as I rode through the streets. Like, we're riding on streets. There's people here. This is, I don't see any of what I've seen on TV. Like, what's really going on? That's what was going through my mind as I passed through the streets of Accra in 2003. Mind you, there's more streets now in 2022 than there was in 2003, but there still were roads. The first time I went in 2003, I did not have a very good time, and that's probably because my husband was so busy preparing for his father's funeral. He really didn't have time to cater to me and our daughter like I wanted him to. His family members kind of took care of us, which made me a little bit uncomfortable because I'm an introverted person. I get a touch of social anxiety, and so just being around people that I didn't know was very uncomfortable. We did still travel to Kumasi. We did still go to Cape Coast, And even going to Cape Coast, I was like, I didn't even know there was a castle that the slaves were held until they were shipped to wherever they were going. I didn't know that there was one still standing. Now, I know a lot of you all are like, really, like you were 20 something years old at this point, 21 years old, and you didn't know that this stuff was going on. Like, okay. But I'm from a small town in Tennessee, and I didn't really go outside of that. Like, I was very narrow-minded, and you know, I don't really know why I didn't want to read more, but I just didn't. Reading nonfiction things and really reading about African history was not really something that I was gravitating to. So when I went to Cape Coast to visit, when we went to visit the slave castle, the Elmina Castle, I was just like, wow, like this is where my ancestors could have been housed until they were sent to wherever. And I remember feeling very sad, and I remember just saying to myself, there's so much that I don't know, and it's shameful. That's what I remember feeling. It's very shameful that I don't know this, things that I should know. When the trip ended, and it ended 8 weeks, because I was there for an entire summer, I did express to my husband how awful a time I had. I did not have a very good time at all. It was the worst time ever. And I told him I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back to Ghana. Thank you, but no thank you. I don't know. If you go home, fine, you can go home by yourself. 2017, I went to Ghana twice. I went to a medical mission in the summertime, and I went to a festival in my husband's hometown in December. And just during that time is really when I started to feel a little bit different towards Ghana. I started to feel a bit more appreciation for the beauty, for the people, for the culture, and I finally kind of felt like, you know what, there's not a lot of people that get to experience this. And so I really don't know how lucky I am and how blessed I am to be able to experience the continent of Africa in the way that I'm able to experience it. 2012, it got a little stronger. As I started reading and educating myself through that time, by the time 2017 rolled around, I was 37 years old. So it's just like, okay, yes, I have done this. I've been here. I know the area. I know the place. I'm starting to love the place. I'm starting to love the people. And I'm starting to love the continent of Africa. Like, who would have thought that this is where I would be at this age? Like, to the point where I want to go. I'm not dreading to go. I want to go. And I think it's important as African Americans that we do find that connection to the African continent, that we do find ourselves having some connection there. And you know, we somewhat in the United States of America, as a Black Americans, we do kind of still, even though we don't want to admit it, we still like to have that connection. We still find ourselves getting the braided hairstyles, wearing the African print dresses, wearing head wraps. I mean, all those things are happening in the Black community because underneath it all, there is a connection there. Even though it might not be as strong as it should be, it is there. And when you get a connection to the African continent, it's almost like you feel like there is a place that I can belong. There is a place that I can be at peace. There is a place that I can go when things get a little out of hand in the United States. Not getting a little out of hand. They are out of hand in the United States of America. I can have a place that I can go and I can be at peace. And I can just live. I can just live. And that's where I'm at now in 2022. I am at a place now where I'm no longer afraid to tell people, yes, I'm going to Ghana and I'm going to have a fabulous time. Yes, I am going there for 4 weeks, 5 weeks, and I'm going to have a great time. It is a wonderful place. You should visit there as well. You should want to go to any country in Africa to experience stepping foot on the African continent. And I'm not ashamed to say that. I was ashamed to say that at one point in my life, and I'm not ashamed to say that now. I feel a connection to Ghana that I have, that's really, an interesting connection, because it goes just beyond my husband's family or my husband. It goes beyond myself, my sense of confidence when I'm there, my sense of belonging when I'm there, when I'm on the cha-cha and we're riding around, and I feel like I'm in a place where I can just be. I can just live. I can just do what I need to do without worry, without constant worry. And I think that's what the bottom line is, without constant worry, walking around and just knowing that we're just living, and that's, I can't tell you how that feels for you to go somewhere to just live. I mean, even living overseas has allowed me to have a different perception as well, because where I'm at, there's still a sense of peace that I don't have to really look over my shoulder. But there's a different peace here where I'm at versus the peace I have when I go to Ghana. It's a different peace, because when I go there, I'm seeing people that look like me. Over here, I barely see anybody look like me, so it's a different situation. So it's different when you go somewhere where you see people that look like you, and y'all are all doing the same thing: living, working, enjoying life, being grateful for living. And I encourage anyone out there, particularly Black Americans out there, to really open your mind to the African continent. If you're someone who might not have the desire to go out there and read, educate yourself, and it doesn't have to be Ghana, it can be any African country out there. And I will have to say this, okay, because I know a lot of people, they go to Egypt, they go to Morocco. Those are the ones that they go to the most when they're talking about tourist areas. But I'm saying to open your mind to other African countries in the sub-Saharan Africa, to open your mind to those African countries as well, not just the ones in North Africa, but also the ones in sub-Saharan Africa as well, and so that you can see the beauty of all of it, not just the ones that society has said, hey, these are the ones that's okay to go to, but the other ones, no, not so much. And you'll be surprised what comes from that, what you will develop, what your thoughts would be, how it's going to evolve you, how it's going to make you look at Africa in a whole different light. Because that's exactly what happens with me, just giving my mind that space to see that there is beauty in a continent where so many people said there's not. And for me to say to myself, well, there has to be beauty there if my ancestors came from there. There has to be beauty there if the Europeans were there in the first place. There has to be beauty there, because if there's not beauty there, then nobody would have bothered the African continent to begin with. And we all know that that is not true. All right, you all. I hope that you learned a little bit more about me as far as like my connection to Ghana, how it has evolved, how my connection, my love for Ghana has kind of evolved over time. It has been a learning process. It was not something that happened overnight. It was not something that boom, it just happened. It is something that grew on me, and I'm glad that it did. I'm glad that it grew on me. I'm glad that it is a part of who I am, and I'm glad that the African continent is a part of who I am as well. All right, you all, hope that you enjoyed this video. I am Michele Mazelleغ. Make sure that you like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.